Today I'm going to teach you all how to make a canvas cross stitch frog. And we're going to make it as a frog. You could do it in whatever color yarn you wanted. You could just make them, put candy in it. I've also seen them made as like a little brown reindeer with antlers, but we're going to do a frog. It's very simple. All you're going to need is 3 small cutout squares of plastic canvas, 1 large needle with a blunt tip. You can get these at AC Moore. Guys, these are expensive when I have to buy them for our classroom, because they're about almost $2 a piece. And I do buy about 80 of them so that everybody can use one in class and not have to swap them out when another group of kids comes in. So I do ask you all to be careful with these and make sure that they get returned and not lost. You'll need some googly eyes, some green yarn. You're going to then also want a pair of scissors and a hot glue gun. For our class, you're just going to start with 3 squares. They're a 10 by 10 grid. These come in large packs in sheets, and you can purchase them at AC Moore. They're just a couple dollars a piece, and if this is something that you all really enjoy, you can get some supplies and just work and create and do all kinds of things at home on your own. To get started, cut off a piece of your yarn about 3 to 4 feet long. The length of your arm span would be good. So cut that off and get your needle. Alright, so get a piece of yarn about the length of your arm span. Okay? And this is why I purchase needles with really big eyes, because to thread yarn through is not so easy. Don't hold it like this the way we do thread, because that will make your yarn fray. If you fold it over and you pinch the fold like so, you can push it with your fingernail, still a little challenging, through the eye. Now you want to keep one short tail and one long tail of your yarn. One short. Unlike our other sewing, we pulled the thread all the way down and doubled it and tied a knot. With the canvas cross stitch, you don't do that. You keep one short end, one long end, and you don't need to knot it. And you'll see why in just a minute. So get your small piece of your canvas square. And for your first stitch, you're going to want to come down to the right hand corner. And you're always bringing the needle through the back for the first stitch. Come to the bottom right hand corner and go over to the left 1 hole. Come in through the back, push your needle through, and pull it through. And pull your yarn until you have about 1 inch of a tail. And that'll just be on the back of your canvas. Then you're going to go up 1 and over 1 hole to the right. So you're going to go diagonally. And this time you're going to go from the front to the back. Push your needle through, pull your yarn, and hold your tail with your left hand so that you don't pull it all the way through. Now see, I've made 1 stitch, and it's on a diagonal right. The angle is diagonal right. Then for your second stitch, you're going to always come in from the back. You're going to go over a hole to the left. Come in from the back and pull through. And getting started is a little tricky because you do have to hold your tail. Then you're going to go diagonally up 1 over 1 to the right, You're going to come from the front to the back this time. Push it through. And sometimes your yarn gets a little bit tangled. Don't panic. Just loosen it up. That's a trick when you're doing this, guys. If your yarn gets tangled, don't pull it tight. If you pull it tight, you're going to make a tight knot. That's difficult to get out. If you just loosen it up, usually you can unknot it. So you're going to do your third stitch. You're going to come in from the back, the next hole over, come in from the back, and then from the front to the back on your diagonal. And pull through. Now you'll see why I didn't have to knot it. I'm just going right over top of my tail. I'm stitching the tail in. And that'll make it nice and clean on the back. So you're just going to keep going and make your entire row. So once you've completed your first row, and if you flip it over on the back, you can see, you can't even see the tail because I stitched right over top of it. Okay? Now you need to make your second row. And let me pause for a second, guys. I am showing you the easiest way for you all beginning to make your canvas cross stitch. Technically, in real or in more advanced cross stitch, sometimes you come from the top to the bottom and sometimes you go from the bottom to the top. But for us, for you all, it is easiest for you to always just go from the bottom to the top, and it will work just fine. So for your second row, then you're going to come to this hole right here. See, it's still empty. You're going to come in from the bottom, from the back, pull it through, and go again. And this is what makes it easier for you guys. You're going to always move up one over one on a diagonal. And then you're going to come in from the front. So this is starting your second row. Now, you need to find the top, the little corner right here with your needle. It's the second row of holes, but you do already have a piece of yarn from your earlier stitch. But come in right there and pull it through from the back. And that's why I said I'm going to show you this way, because it's easier. And then you're going to go diagonally. You came through right there. You're going to go diagonally again, up one over one to the right. Find the next hole right there. Come in from the back, up one over one. Now sometimes students want to come in on an empty hole, okay? And if you do that, you're actually going to be skipping a line. You're going to have an empty row down here. So that's why you need to come in a little square that already has had a stitch. And now you're just going to make your second row. Now I've completed 2 rows, and you're just going to continue doing this. For the third row, I want to make my diagonals going to the right, so I have to come in this hole right here. The second one in from the back, and then diagonally up and to the right. And I'm just going to keep going. In from the back, diagonally up and to the right. I continue working on this until you have filled in the entire square. But sometimes you all might find that your yarn gets twisted up and it can become a little bit difficult to maneuver. So a very simple trick to this is to hold your just hold it up and let your needle drop. And it will spin until it's untangled. And then just keep going. Now you have filled in your entire square. And it looks like you're going to end up with one empty hole up here on the top left. That's not a big deal. When we join them together, that will be taken care of. But now what do you do with the remaining yarn? Flip your canvas over to the back. And your back is going to look like this. Now technically, if you do the canvas cross stitch the more advanced way, your back will look identical to the front. But honestly, for you all, it's much easier for you to do it the way that I've shown you. And once you get that down and you're ready to move on to a little bit more advanced, we can handle a more advanced one. But for now, we're going to do it this way. So to end your string, okay, here's the front, flip it over to the back. Feed your thread through a couple stitches. You kind of just got to work on that. Feed it through and give it a pull. Now you've fed it through, and then just clip it with your scissors right at the end. It's not knotted, it's not going to come untied. Your first tail was down here, your last tail was up here. There's the front, there's the back, no loose stitches. Now the other thing, the same thing you could do if you were down here in the middle and you ran out of yarn. You would just flip it over, end it the same way, and then start a new piece and continue. So let me show. So now you've got one square. Set your square down, and you're going to start all over again with square number 2. So let's refresh how we do this. Get one long piece of string of yarn. I'm going to find the end. And if you get a piece that's as long as your arm span, you should have enough to do the entire square. So get one long piece again, fold it over. It's the same process. Pinch it with your fingers, feed it through the eye of the needle. And it really helps to pinch it. Feed it through. One short tail, one long tail. Pick up your second piece of canvas, your second square. The same thing again. The bottom corner, bottom right hand corner, over one to the left on the bottom. Come in from the back. Pull it through. All the way through. Have about a 1-inch tail. Grab it with your left hand. Your stitches go to the diagonal to the right. Up one, over one to the right. Bring your needle from the front to the back this time. And pull it through. Come in from the back to the front. You're holding your tail so you don't pull it through. And then diagonally up and over to the right. And you're just going to continue. Now I have finished my second square. I have one left to go. I've completed one. But first I need to end it off again. Okay? So the front, flip it over to the back. Feed your needle under a couple stitches, pull it through. and clip it off. Now I still have some yarn left, so I'm just going to start again on my third square. Again, the bottom corner, over one to the left, come in from the back, grab the tail, diagonally to the right. Now I'm going to run out of yarn, but that's good because that's what I want to show you. Whoops, is what happens when you run out of yarn in the middle. So let me get to that point, and then I will show you how to how to end it off and then start a new piece of yarn in the middle of your square. Now I'm in the middle of a row and in the middle of my square, and I'm clearly running out of yarn. Don't panic. Just end it the same way. Feed it through your last couple of stitches. Feed it through. Clip it. Get some more yarn. Make sure you get enough. Thread your needle. You're going to start just like you did at the beginning. Thread your needle. Sometimes that's hard. Just go to where you left off. That would be your next stitch. Bring it through. I'm going to have a little tail. Not a big deal. I'm going to sew right over top of it. Gonna keep on going. It's very easy. So this might happen to you. I've been stitching along, and for whatever reason my yarn got into a knot. Don't panic. We can fix that. The first thing you should try, do not pull it tight. The first thing you should try is to loosen it up with your needle. See if you can stick the needle in there, or use your fingernails and loosen it up. So I was successful in doing that. So then I can just keep going. Okay? But suppose I wasn't successful. Suppose I really got a bad knot. Okay? I'll just make a pretend knot. I got a bad knot and I cannot get it untied. Okay? Don't panic. Don't yank on it. If you yank on it, you're going to break your canvas. Don't panic. You can cut it, just cut it. Not a big deal, because what are you going to do? This is on the front now. It's not a big deal. Flip it over. Pull that last stitch out. Pull it back to the back. Okay? Pull it to the back. Okay? Now it's just like a tail. Okay? Just leave it back there. You can cut it a little shorter. You've got your thread ready to go because you cut it. And just like when you start in the beginning, okay, just hold the tail. You're going to have two tails. Not a big deal. I'm just going to keep going. Put the two tails together back there. You're just going to sew right over top of them. And just keep going. Okay? A lot of times students get frustrated or panic when that happens. Not at all a big deal. Everything can be figured out, especially if you keep calm. Remember, that's a life skill we talk about. Keep calm and keep going on, and you'll figure it out. All right? All right, I have completed all three of my squares. Okay? Now, they still have the edge around them, so we're not finished with our frog yet. But I find that it is easiest if you go ahead and pick one of your squares and glue the googly eyes on, because that will help you visualize which is the face of the frog when you're stitching these together. All right? So you've heated up your hot glue gun. All right? These get very hot. you can burn yourself pretty significantly with a hot glue gun. So be careful. Do not touch this with your finger. All right? Hold your square on a diagonal. All right? It's going to look like this. Hold it on a diagonal. Set it down. Like this on a diagonal. Not like this, like a square, but on a diagonal, like a diamond. Put a little drop of hot glue on the back of your googly eye. Don't touch the hot glue because it's hot. All right. Glue your eyeball. One eyeball. And the second eyeball. All right. So now I have my eyeballs on my frog. And I'm going to unglue the hot glue gun. You don't want to leave those on. All right, now it's time to put your pieces together. And this can be a little bit complicated, but by putting the eyeballs on first, it's going to help you visualize that. Now, this frog, the outline is done in green, the same color as the body. I think it's cute if you outline it in a different color. And I like a sweet frog, so I'm going to outline my frog in pink. You can do whatever you want. You can do the same color. You could do a contrasting color, whatever you like. Same way, thread your needle, bend your yarn over, thread the needle. How to use your fingernails. All right, keep a short tail and a long tail. All right, so this is going to be the lips of your frog. All right, it's not sewn together with another piece. So I find it easiest to do the lip first. So I'm going to do the whip stitch around the edge, this edge and this edge. So start right here on the corner of your diagonal, okay? Pull it through. And you're going to have a tail. It's not a big deal. Again, let your tail go like that on the back, and you're going to stitch over it. Now, for the whip stitch, where else do you go in? You're going to come back around the back and come into the same hole. You're going to come right into the same hole. And especially on the corners, so that you don't have a pokey corner, go around it and into the same hole a couple times. And it also kind of depends on how thick your yarn is. If you're using really thick yarn, you'll be okay, but if you're using thin yarn, you're going to really want to do it a couple times so that your corners don't poke through. Alright, so I've covered up that corner. Pull it through. Now, I'm just going to go around and you just whip around. I'm just going to keep going. I like to do it about twice in every hole. And just keep going. Once or twice. Just kind of eyeball it. And how it looks. You don't want to see any of your canvas. Okay? And I've got a little piece of yarn, so I'm just going to snip it. Just kind of frizzed through. And just keep going all the way around this edge and this edge. Those are going to be his lips. Here I've made the frog's upper lip. Now, it gets a little complicated here, okay, because now you're going to start attaching his sides, okay? So, you're going to attach this piece right here, all right? It's going to attach here, but then it's going to also attach there. Okay? Like this guy. And that's where it is a little hard to maneuver it around, but you can do it. So start with these two together, just like that. Now you're going to join them. You're going to do the whip stitch around both. Just pinch it together. Okay, here's his face. And you're going to whip around both together. And again, I like that corner to be really covered well. So I'm going to do it twice through that corner hole, if you can. Alright. Now, just keep whip stitching across this top edge. Now, here's where once you get the whip stitch down, you get to teach me how to do that whip dance step. Alright, so now I've done his lips and I've whip stitched his face to his back. But now you have to bend this and connect those two pieces together. Alright? Then this bottom piece is going to go under here, and I'll show you when we get there. So do the lips, then these two, then connect those two. So just keep whipping around. Give it some extra stitches if you can on the corner. Don't pull too hard because you can break the canvas. If you do, it's not the end of the world. We'll just kind of hide it if you do. Let's just keep whip stitching around and get down this whole side. Alright, so I have the lips. I've whipped the face to his back. Now it does get a little complicated. You have to connect the bottom piece, okay? Make sure that you put the inside on the inside, the nice side on the outside. Okay, so open his lips up like that. Okay, you can do it just like this. Hold it like that, pinch it together, because then you're going to whip these two edges together, and then this edge is going to be his bottom lip. Alright, hold it together like that. It's a little tough. Join the corners. Just hold it together the best that you can. Okay? Just like that. And just keep going. Now, I joined the bottom to the back, and now I'm going to join the other side of the bottom to the back. And then all I have left to do are his lips, his bottom lip. Alright, so I have joined all the edges together, and now the only thing I have to do is whip around the bottom lip. So I'm going to do that. It's a little tricky to maneuver when he's just open it up and go along the bottom. I have finished whip stitching him together. The only thing left is to end it. It is a little tricky at this point. Just open him up. You want to do it in the middle.
feed it through a couple stitches on the inside. It's okay. Send it through, pull your needle out, give it a stitch. There's your frog. And you can make them, again, we're doing frogs. I mean, you could make a yellow duck, you could make a brown reindeer and put little pipe cleaner antlers. I have one of these that my grandmother made when I was a child, and I hang it on our Christmas tree. It has a loop, and we put candy in the middle of it. But when you all are finished with this, you can come see me, and I just may give you a treat to put inside of them. Good job.